What's up, guys? Welcome to Three's a Podcast. Today we have, Matt and Evan. Evan's going to be talking about state control. It's the mental state of being, and he's going to be talking more about your emotional state and how to control that. So, Evan, can you kind of like expound on that and tell us exactly how to control, I guess, or what the emotional state you're talking about is?
Well, the idea behind state control comes from a set of teachings in NLP. You'll see it. It's commonly talked about with figures like Tony Robbins and just about any type of success coach that you see. We'll talk about using state control to make deals and to gain rapport and to gain influence.
Okay.
And mostly what I'll be talking about tonight is state control in kind of an influence context, as opposed to, I guess, it works in almost any environment.
Right.
Theoretically, if you use some of the principles I'm going to be teaching tonight effectively, you could effectively stay calm in a war zone.
Okay.
Theoretically. I got into state control, I would say, really early in my NLP studies. It was one of the first things they taught me.
Okay.
It involved, and a lot of it is going to involve, at least the basics that I'm going to be teaching tonight is how you use your body to control your emotional state. And I'm going to be breaking down the sciences and kind of, a part of your psychology that they call the holographic nervous system, which is where a lot of your energy healing principles are going to stem from. So if you're into anything like Reiki or energy meditation or anything like that, there's a lot of principles that we pull from that, I guess, the more science-based aspects of those practices.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah.
You said you were...
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you said that controlling your emotional state in like war zones. Are you talking about like keeping yourself from like getting PTSD or something like that, or what?
It's more you keeping physically and mentally calm in certain situations. The ability to kind of hold, not just control which state you go into, but change your emotional state at will. Maintain a state for a longer period of time.
Okay.
And just basically you can kind of will yourself through different emotions.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. Or
so it isn't...
even if you're not necessarily making yourself feel it, you can convince other people that's what you're feeling.
So I guess initially I figured it was something like you're kind of suppressing emotions and being at like a level place, but you're saying you can actually shift yourself into different emotions.
Yes. You could use it to suppress, but if you do that, but that's kind of a willpower-based version of state control. And that will work for a while, but eventually your willpower will burn up and you kind of run out of steam. When you try to go the suppression route, because your willpower is just basically measured by your blood sugar levels, and I think that's where a lot of people actually end up going wrong when they try to do state control, is they try to push a lot of willpower into it. But hopefully, tonight I'll be able to teach a more free-flowing version of how people can do that more easily.
Okay.
Kind of a basic to practice and a template for any entrepreneurs out there that are listening. Or it works just about any aspect of your life, from dating to business. If you have the right state, you can basically project the image or influence that you want to project onto another person, and have a higher rate of being able to connect with them or make that business deal. It's very much a relational and emotional based practice.
A relational and an emotional based practice. Okay.
Yeah.
You said it's not done by willpower?
Yeah, it is not. If you're able to shift yourself into basically, well, your psychology works on something called the holographic nervous system, or the proprioceptive nervous system. And it's basically where you sense your limbs, or you sensing yourself in space and time.
Okay.
It's how you know it's what you're being tested on whenever you get a DUI check. When they take you out and they run you through a series of exercises to see if you're drunk, basically.
Right.
And not only is the proprioceptive nervous system used to sense those types of things. I mean, you'll notice you'll be walking around somewhere, and you almost run into something, and you look up and stop right before you hit it.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's the proprioceptive nervous system kind of in action.
Okay.
And an interesting study showed that the different people will have them actually interact with each other if you're within a certain range. I know I discussed the electromagnetic field that kind of surrounds the human heart.
Yeah.
When I was talking about reading people, it kind of works on the same principle as that. Is there's a lot of, I guess you call them. There's a lot of different systems in the body that kind of sense those types of things.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And they somewhat can pick up on objects around you.
Right.
The science isn't all there to pick up on that, so you're kind of getting esoteric if you try to explain how it works. The theories that try to explain it are kind of on the esoteric or spiritual level, because science is just kind of now catching up on those.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But basically, what I'd like to do actually tonight is do a few exercises using that nervous system. Kind of allow people that you don't know where to start, learn how to go in and out of these different states, and actually provide a template or a basic, because it does take practice over time. You don't just one day become invulnerable to sadness or depression.
Right.
But these tricks will help you kind of beat the depression back, or actually sometimes manage it altogether.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's actually, a lot of these are techniques that I've used to manage my personal depression for the past couple of years.
Right.
And I've actually gotten pretty good at, I don't know, I guess just overall not being as depressed anymore.
Okay.
I find I'm not pissed off or stressed out as often.
Mm-hmm.
It's helped me a lot with my social anxiety. And it's really a foundation for a lot of the verbal skills that I've learned. The NLP and hypnosis stuff that I've been doing,
Right.
Has all had a foundation in being able to go into the right state. In fact,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, in fact, it's what I have been using. Well, when I went and started doing improv,
Yeah.
state control is what I used in order to get into character.
Okay.
And it's what I use. I even use it on stage when I'm doing stand up. It's kind of I use it kind of as a stage presence factor, where I just kind of change the energy that I'm projecting.
Okay.
But anyway, what was your question, Matt?
Well, I was going to say, do you is this something that you actively practice, or is it something you only do within the situations? Like if you're in a socially, if you're in a situation that maybe is causing some anxiety socially, do you um, would you kind of initiate it right then, or is this something that you kind of practice regularly that just helps you with those situations?
A little bit of both. I do have my days where I just don't do it for that day,
Right.
where I forget to do it. I forget to go in and out of state, or a lot of times when I'm in kind of a socially neutral environment, I just don't worry about it. If I know I'm going into a certain type of environment, then I will try to, I guess, select the right state to be in that environment, kind of strategically. It's what I use it a lot. It's something I use a lot for job interviews too. If I'm going to, try to get a feel for what type of work environment it's going to be,
Mm-hmm.
and try to, I guess, project the right type of energy I'm going to need for that job.
I see.
Yeah, it's a very body language based. I guess you could call it a science. I mean, it's a lot of it is, well, you'll typically turn when you change the way you move, you'll change the way you feel.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
And that's becoming more and more accepted
Mm-hmm.
psychologically, just in recent years. So I mean, we already went over a few weeks ago how just faking a smile will actually cause you to have a small, emotional shift. Sometimes for some people, it's actually huge. It affects them in a big way. But
Yeah.
um, but anyway, I was thinking, I don't know what type of states you guys wanted to play with,
Mm-hmm.
or if you guys wanted to get into, um, I don't know, because I have things, I mentioned in the past that I have what I call the rock star state, and then I've got the captain, which is very authoritative.
Okay.
Kind of you asserting your authority or your dominance in a certain environment. And then there's also fun, fun states, like the lover and the. I have different people have different names for them.
Right.
But essentially, there's a different state for whatever type of vibe you want to put out.
Okay.
And there's a way for you can shift in and out. You can shift to a new state. I'd say starting out as little as 5 minutes. Going by the Amy Cuddy principle.
Amy Cody.
Yeah, Amy Cuddy, the one that I talked about in the body language. A lot of her stuff is going to play into what I'm going to be talking about tonight. So, I guess for my first exercise, I wonder, do either of you guys have some sort of tension that you feel you want to feel less of? I'll put it that way. Or
Well,
let's say something that you don't feel confident about.
Something that I don't feel confident about.
I think I have one. I guess I am planning to move to Chicago for film school in August. Well, I don't know if this is exactly if this will work in the situation, but one of the reasons I've thought about not going is because I don't feel completely confident that I'll actually be able to accomplish good things there. In fact, the entire situation is kind of making me kind of stressed and have a little anxiety over it, but I don't know if this applies.
Okay, so you're living with a state of anxiety about a particular issue.
Yeah, sort of a dread, something that it's kind of giving me anxiety.
I think this I could probably work with that. Do you have something similar, Ty?
I don't know if I have something similar, but I have this I guess, fear or something, but I don't confidently believe that I will get out of my situation, or I'm afraid that I don't fully believe that I'm going to get out of my situation. Like I feel
Okay.
stuck at McDonald's.
Can you guys point to where you feel that? This is going to sound very weird, but for someone that hasn't heard this stuff before, but can you guys point to the place on your body where you feel it?
The tension.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, you're going to want to stand up for this if you can, but
Okay.
Okay.
anyone at home can follow this too. This is yeah. So we're going to go with
Okay.
anxiety. You want to feel less anxiety.
Would I usually feel it in two places, or do I think is that
Uh, you can, but we're going to pick one for now. Okay. Just kind of stand the way that you're standing.
okay?
When you're kind of in that state, close your eyes, breathe the way you're breathing, and
Okay.
I want you to reach down. I want you to point. I want you to point to the place where you're feeling that tension,
Okay.
and I want you to look kind of with your mind's eye, and imagine there's a color or a series of colors associated with that feeling. Just let me know when you got it.
Okay, I think so.
All right, you got it, Ty?
No, not
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. So you can see where you feel it. It's kind of in your mind's eye. Look where you see it, or look where you're feeling it. This is
Okay.
This is completely imaginal. All right.
Okay. So the color
All right.
doesn't really matter. Is that correct, or does it?
No, it doesn't. But the color is probably going to be unique to both of you.
Okay.
All right. So we both got it. You've identified where it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
All
think
right.
so.
Now I want you guys to start pulling it out.
Okay.
And when you know you got it all, take it out and hold it in your hand. And notice if the color changes or stays the same.
Okay. Am I doing this physically or in my mind's eye?
You're doing this physically. This is the physical part of the
Okay.
exercise.
The physical part.
Yeah. Yeah, just keep physically pulling, and subconsciously you'll know when you got it all out.
I don't know why, but as I'm doing it, I feel like there's been some sort of weight lifted.
Yeah, make sure you know you've got it all.
Okay.
All right, you keep pulling for as long as you need to.
I think I got it all.
All right. Ty?
Yeah.
All right. Now I want you to hold it out in your hand and notice if the color has changed or stayed the same.
Am I telling you whether it's changed or stayed the same?
It really does. I just need to know that you've got it.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
I think I got it.
Yeah, you guys both
Me
got it.
too.
I think
All right,
so.
you're gonna notice. Okay, now you're gonna notice it's spinning in a certain direction.
It's spinning in a certain direction.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're gonna come to notice that it's spinning in a certain direction. Now, keep in mind this is all imaginal, so either way is of no consequence. This is all unique to
Yeah.
your
I mean, my eyes have
subconscious.
just been closed this entire time, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're imagining this through your mind's eye.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I want you to take it out and hold it in front of your body almost like a steering wheel. And I want you to spin it
Okay.
in the opposite direction until you
It's
know it
spinning.
cannot. Yeah. And keep doubling the speed. No, you're going to physically spin it in the opposite direction.
Okay. All right. This rope or thing that we have tangled.
Yes, this
Okay.
object, So you're going to spin it in the opposite direction of where it was spinning. And that's interesting. You call it a rope, but that's a whole other topic.
Okay.
And when you know you've got it all and it can't possibly go back the other direction, take it and slam it right back where you pulled it out from.
Wait, what?
When you know it can't spin in the other direction, keep spinning it in the opposite direction of where it was going.
When
you
it
know it
won't
can't,
continue to spin in that direction, right?
yeah. When you know it can't possibly go back the other way, take it and slam it back where you got it.
Okay.
It's actually taking me a second, but
Take as long as you need to.
okay, I've got it spinning in the opposite direction, and it's not moving back anymore.
All right, slam it right back where you got it. And just let your body react however you feel it needs to. Just breathe, whether it's deep breaths, yawns, whether you start to feel hot or sweat, or
Yeah, sweaty.
so everybody kind of reacts differently to this exercise. And you should come to notice, you either a relief in tension or you start feeling the opposite of what you were feeling before.
I feel lighter.
So normally this exercise is done a bit more quickly.
Okay.
Because it would be done one-on-one
Right.
or in person. But I just kind of wanted to give an idea of how this exercise works.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you notice I was actually very skeptical. I don't know if you guys are both noticing this because of how I don't know if the process ran as smooth as it should have. But this is an exercise I was very skeptical about when it was taught to me.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, what you're doing is your subconscious will store different emotional things in different places around your body. It's like a whole. That's why it's called. A lot of people call it the holographic nervous system, because you're identifying a feeling and you're, metaphorically, you're pulling the energy out and you're changing its direction so that it either stabilizes or it gives you an emotional release. And a lot of people feel lighter, or they feel, start to feel hot. I've seen people twitch and do all kinds of weird stuff when they've gone through this exercise. But okay, so now that we're through the exercise, what I'll do is I'm just going to recap what I did.
Okay.
Here. Basically, you find the point of tension, you find where this negative emotion is resting, or it could be positive.
Mm-hmm.
If it's positive, you would just spin it in the same direction it's already spinning. What you do is you will notice that there's a color associated. You'll pull it out. You make sure you have everything.
Okay.
And you begin to spin it in the opposite direction. You hold it out in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are sure that it can no longer spin back to the way it was, you would slam it back in the same place it was, and it will upset the place in your the holographic nervous system that was disturbed. And many times you're going to feel an emotional or physical difference. I figured I'd start with that one because that one's a bit more simple and a little less hypnotic.
Okay.
It's just kind of your subconscious working through, which is about as deep into energy work as I usually get, is this kind of stuff.
Right.
But I mean, you guys feel like you've got it down, or?
I think so. It's kind of an interesting process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Matt, you're the one I was very interested to see if it worked for, but because I know that you're a skeptic and it's really something you just got to kind of experience.
Yeah. Well, I am skeptical, although I would say that this is kind of an area that it seems like it would be adverse to kind of skepticism, but even though it's not directly hypnosis, those type of ideas are actually pretty. And meditation, for instance, is starting to become pretty widely accepted in the skeptic community. So I'm not as skeptical about these sort of things, although.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of just went with it. I tried not to question anything, so I just kind of went with it as best I can.
Yeah.
I will say this. Well, it's interesting. Maybe it's because it's late, and I'm in my I'm kind of low energy, so maybe that's affected me a certain way. But it kind of I don't know. It's kind of interesting because I started focusing so much on the energy part of what I was thinking about that I actually stopped thinking about the anxiety part that I was actually originally focused on. But so maybe that was bad that I stopped focusing on the actual concept of why I was anxious and started just focusing on the physical. But I'll tell you this, that I do feel actually way more relaxed. And actually, so just to explain, the area that on my body that I usually feel that it's almost like a heart sinking feeling is around my chest, which I'm assuming is probably a very common area for this sort of thing. But now afterwards it's actually really weird, but I almost feel like a weird
Euphoric?
yeah, euphoric a little bit, and also almost like a light buzz in my chest. I can't explain it, but kind of like a weird good feeling, but almost like when you're drunk a little bit and your body has that little warm tingly sensation.
Yeah.
So that's weird.
Yeah.
Did you pull it out of your chest too?
Yeah. Did you do that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
So I'm kind of curious.
mine was a little bit more over my heart, but yeah.
Mine was directly in the middle of my chest, but I have a feeling, Evan, is that like a common place?
That actually is fairly common, yes. And if you want to get kind of into the interesting fact, that is actually around where they consider the heart chakra to be.
Wow.
And I'm not gonna get too deep into that concept, but
Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I lend a little bit of validity to the ideas behind this.
Yeah.
It may not be as much a spiritual concept, but it appears to me to be very much a psychological one that can be very effective. As I've gone through different meditations, and that technique is actually called spinning, and that's the one that I use typically as a quick fix, because the quicker you can learn how to do it, the quicker you can remember it, the quicker you can use that.
Interesting.
And the results will actually start coming on quicker the more you use that, because your neurology will become more plastic to the experience. Because you're literally having your brain reinterpret what you're feeling in that area. And it comes to affect your nervous system. And this particular one, I've used it for really specific issues. Because I started out with general emotions that I was trying to deal with, and then it came to, I'm feeling this specific thing about this, and I would use a technique for that, and it would make me more confident in more specific situations or about more specific issues. But yeah, that's a very quick fix. I use it mostly for my law of attraction work before I go into a meditation. Because instead of doing a pre-meditation before my meditation,
right,
which can sometimes double the amount of time you have to meditate to get into that proper state and go through the exercise, you can do something like that as a quicker fix. And it's something where you get pissed off at work, go to the bathroom, go in the stall, and do that exercise, and you come out a little bit less, a little bit more relieved. And it's something that's one in particular that I've tested. Actually, the past 6 months in several different environments where I feel like I just had to pull the state out of my ass to be able to pull off something, or to be able to stay in a particular state.
Yeah.
Because you'll notice even if you're adopting the power poses that I discussed earlier, or you're adopting a certain body language, you can still fall out of that state, and you're like, okay, you do something quick. And I don't know if you guys noticed at all, but your body language will actually start to kind of naturally shift after you go through the exercise, as you're kind of starting to reset.
Right.
Your breathing patterns and
Obviously after doing it continuously, correct?
yeah.
Okay.
But as your emotional state starts to shift from doing these types of exercise, your body almost wants to do it automatically.
Right. Okay.
And it may not even be something that you'll notice at first while you're doing it. It's just that your body language tends to reflect your emotional state on a regular basis. I've never seen a truly depressed person having really uppity high energy body language. Or if they do, it usually comes off fake.
Yeah.
Because we all have those fake people in our lives that are faking their body language, and you can just tell that there's something off about them.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah. So that one in particular, that's a quick fix that some people even use that for pain relief.
Wow.
I've used it for migraines before.
I could see that because I had a pretty physical reaction to it.
Yeah. And a lot of people have a lot of physical pain that actually stems from their emotions. And they'll run through that spinning technique, and they'll find themselves actually, I don't know, they find themselves less tense. There's physical pain that actually comes from depression.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard about this. Yeah. Back pain, I've heard specifically, can be associated with it.
Yeah. There are people that, I've heard stories, I don't know if I totally believe them, but I've heard stories that people that do this exercise a lot on a regular basis actually have, it supposedly helps people with tumors and various types of diseases.
Really?
But that's,
Weird.
yeah.
Okay.
That's a bit more esoteric, but I think it's possible just based on results that I've
I
had
can see
personally.
that just in the sense of pressure or like tension. I could see that, like relieving some inflammatory tension.
Yeah. I would say I've never witnessed anybody heal a tumor with it, but I've heard that it's possible. But more studies are coming out that are showing that our health is linked a lot to our emotional state and what it would be called your primary emotional state, which is what you carry with you on a daily basis.
Okay.
Because there are people that are, your emotions shift, but we all have a certain emotion that we're in most of the time. And that can be, you could be depressed, you could be happy, you could be dominant,
Yeah.
And that, that affects your, somewhat your mental and physical health. My father is, he deals with high anxiety all the time. He has really bad acid reflux. And has actually been told by his doctor that he has, his diabetes is actually brought on by anxiety. So, when we start talking about state control, it goes much deeper than just, I guess, kind of how you're influencing people and how you're portraying yourself.
Yeah.
Because certain types of emotional states that run constant will cause you to actually start having physical health issues. Because anxiety just causes your heart rate to go up. So you could have heart problems, or you could have strokes, or my mother has high blood pressure.
Right.
Or she had it for years because she was stressed out all the time, and after she brought that stress down, it became a lot less of an issue for her. In fact, she was getting a lot better bills of health after she started taking steps to lower that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily these exercises, but I don't know. I just figured I would state the importance of your emotions on your health, because I feel that a lot of times, um, I feel like it's overlooked a lot.
Okay.
I feel like diet and exercise are all very important, but your emotional health is also something that you need to keep in sync with. Um, I guess keep it positive, keep it in sync with your goals and who you really want, the kind of person you want to be, and
Right.
um, because it's not just that everyone around you is sensing your emotional state. It's that, you know, I mean, inward, it's affecting just about every system in your body. Anyway, uh, if you, I think I'll go ahead and move on to something a bit more advanced.
Okay.
Um, this one is a lot more meditative.
Okay.
It's a little bit less physical, but it kind of gets it's built on a similar principle to what we did. Do you guys have a particular state that you would like to try to go into? Like maybe
Yeah.
you want to feel more dominant, more like a rock star, or
I would say more, yeah, dominant or authoritative.
okay. So you kind of want to do the captain.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that all right with you, Matt?
Hey, Matt.
I'm sorry. I guess I accidentally unmuted it. Yeah, that let's
All
do it.
right. All right. You guys both standing?
Nope, but I will again. I can. Yep.
All right. All right. Yeah, I knew this one was going to be more physical, but for the sake of everybody listening, here's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to close your eyes.
Okay.
Okay.
I want you to imagine yourself. You are the captain, or the king of your own ship or kingdom. Everything that you say, people will do. People will do for you. You're in total control. I want you to stand the way you'd be standing, and breathe the way that you'd be breathing. And while you do that, you're going to notice that there is a place in your body where you feel that feeling. It may take a minute. Just let me know when you've got it.
I've got it.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Now you're going to notice when you look down with your mind's eye, there's a color associated with that feeling. And what I want you to do is I want you to project that as a ball of energy above your head and expand that out and fill the room with it. From wall to wall, floor to ceiling. I want you to begin breathing that energy in to every cell in your body, to every part of you, until it becomes completely part of who you are and your being. And when you know you've got it, I want you to try to turn it off and watch what happens without changing your body language. And when you know you've got it, just let me know.
I think I got it.
I think I got it as well.
All right. I want you guys to open your eyes and notice how different you feel.
I think I accidentally gave myself an adrenaline rush.
Were you breathing in too hard?
I'm not kidding. Yeah, I don't know what I did, but
Well, that can be, if that's how you interpreted it, that could be how you got it. It's, this authoritative, dominant feeling.
I guess so.
I feel
Or
very...
how you...
Go ahead.
Basically how you would interpret being that person.
Yeah.
I feel neutral.
It must mean that I associate that like kind of confidence or whatever it is with like power and almost like a physical thing in a physical way.
Yeah. So, for you, dominance is a very high energy state.
Yeah.
As opposed to Ty, he has a more relaxed, I guess you could say a more relaxed form of authority.
Well, I'm just curious. Ty, what did you imagine you were a captain or a king?
A captain.
See, I imagined I was a king.
Okay.
I don't know that there'd be a difference there, but I just thought it was interesting. I just wanted to see if there's a difference.
Yeah. Well, they are fairly different states of authority, but they're both about your,
in charge.
Effect. Yeah.
I just imagine myself. Go ahead.
Well, you go ahead.
I was gonna say I just imagine myself being a captain because I thought that's what he said to do, and so, but yeah.
Well, it's really interesting. Well, it's interesting how revealing it is. How I ended up interpreting the dominance, because unintentionally, subconsciously, because first of all, very quickly, as soon as you started talking, like even before you mentioned like to think of the place on your body that gives you the feeling, like even before Evan had mentioned that, I had already knew it was my right arm, like my right arm, my hand and my arm, basically had already just in the interpretation of stand how you would stand and figure that out, like I just instantly noticed it. And then even before you said the color, it was really weird, but like basically before you even said anything, I could visualize in my mind's eye my right arm almost being on fire, like in my head, like it was like just orange glow, and which is weird because it's not like orange is a color that I associate with very often, but that was instantly the color. And then I started when I was the idea of expanding the energy throughout the room. Maybe I did this completely wrong actually and fucked it up, but basically I was expanding the energy out. When I put it above my head and then out into the room, I was just clenching my fist, almost subconsciously.
Yeah.
And then by the time I had was breathing it in and then opened my eyes, I had realized that I had basically worked myself up into a really energetic state. And I had been because then I had been clasping my fist in that way. Anyway, I don't know if I just went way outside the rails of what I was supposed to be doing, but it was very interesting that it actually affected me in that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I was gonna say my feeling was more in my head, and the color thing I don't quite understand. But I just imagined myself being a captain and the boards being brown, so that's why I admitted out there. But
well, it's weird because in the first exercise, I kind of placed a color.
Yeah, me too.
But it was just weird that in this second exercise, I didn't consciously pick a color. It was it was already there.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Well, it's important to note, though, that the color is almost irrelevant.
Okay.
And it is based on what basically your first impression is always right in that situation, because it is the way that your subconscious interprets that, or the way that your nervous system interprets
Right.
what that feeling or what that color or that place would be
Okay.
is different for so many people.
Mm-hmm.
And having the feeling in your right arm, that's actually fairly unique because I haven't seen that very often. But it is everything that you do with these exercises is open to the interpretation of how your own mind works. Which is why I'm trying to, I teach it, why I'm running through it about as neutrally as I can. Whereas if I was going one-on-one, I might ask you where you feel it. Or with the spinning one, I might ask you which direction it's spinning or what color you had.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in a group, you really don't have time to do that because it's, or if I have one of you guys tell me a color, the other one might, it might subconsciously change the other.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
When
Well,
really
kind
your
of the
own
vagueness of it worked out pretty well for me because I ended up taking it to a weird place. And I don't know necessarily. I don't know. It did put me in a certain. It affected me in a physical way, and that made me feel very empowered or competent. So it is kind of interesting that it kind of worked.
You said the vagueness helped you. Is that correct?
Well, I don't mean not that Evan was being super vague. He was being specific on the instructions, but
Right.
like he said, the way that he. The way he was taking he was giving the instructions, but he couldn't get in. He wasn't like asking us for feedback, so it wasn't like he could specifically direct us in that way.
Right.
And then I ended up, going into some weird direction. Like it wasn't part of the directions for me to like clench my fist or like. But I ended up doing that kind of subconsciously, and I think that was a big part of why it ended up physically affecting me.
Yeah. Now, what did you notice when you try to turn it off?
Well, I almost couldn't, I guess, is the way I could explain it. But I don't know, because I ended up. I guess it's hard to explain because instead of it being a purely mental thing, I was like physically affected to a point where I almost couldn't turn it off, just because I physically felt different.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people notice, actually, a lot of times it gets stronger when they try to do that. It has almost an opposite reaction. In fact, with any of these exercises, really, a common instruction is that you end up telling the subject to try to turn it off or and they can't get it to work, and especially with the spinning technique, what they'll actually do is they'll feel a resistance to do the opposite of what they're trying to do because subconsciously they've already changed the feeling.
Right.
And with a lot of these, which like I said, I was a skeptic whenever I first started studying a lot of these because for me, state control was completely body language based when I first started. And the problem was it could take 5 to 10 minutes of holding a certain pose to be able to pull off the state. But with these, you can, especially with the one we just did, which I don't know if you guys noticed it having a stronger effect than the previous technique or not. But, this is one of those that I can use at the beginning of my day to really solidify a certain state and start out with that. And then if you feel you want to do any of the other exercises like spinning, which is something you can do as many times per day as you want, it becomes very easy to go back to the spinning technique and just keep, every few hours and just kind of stay in that state for as long as you need to. And the best part is there's not a lot of effort being put into holding these states because you naturally went into it. Now, if you're doing a high energy state, like the one that we just did, that can kind of burn you out after a while. But I mean, it's natural for
Yeah,
you.
I can imagine.
It's natural for you to get tired after a while, anyway. And you have enough sleep and everything. And you have a healthy diet and everything. You can actually hold these states almost permanently, just all the time.
Okay.
With very little maintenance. But this one in particular is one that I use going into social situations. Or if I have, I know the place I'm going to be in, the environment I'm going to be in is going to be very high stress. It's going to be contrary to what I need the state that I need to have.
Right.
It's a lot less. It takes a lot more time. It's a lot less of a quick fix, but it will typically keep you going. It'll typically last longer. Unfortunately, I can't really give you an arbitrary time limit for it because it's different for everybody.
Right.
And it will also grow. The more you do this kind of stuff, the more the more effective it will be as you become more plastic. But another, I use this exercise a lot of times whenever I'm going into, say, if I'm trying to go into a scenario where I need to be more social, or if I'm going into a dating scenario. Any type of state you think you need to feel or be in.
Right.
At any given moment, you could use this exercise for. As long as you can. The same for the spinning. For the spinning, if you can point to it, you can change it or enhance it. And for this one in particular, as long as you can find the color and you can project it and run through the exercise, you can make yourself go into that state. You just have to find the body language.
Right. Okay.
Now, the last one I'm going to do is going to be a little different. It's going to be a little bit less energy based, but this one has to do with dealing with negative experiences or changing the way your confidence about attaining a certain goal, or it's very past or future based.
Okay.
Within your subconscious, kind of deciding kind of what you want and what you don't want.
Right.
It's used very commonly in law of attraction circles, and it's used actually a lot of times for trauma as well.
Really?
A variation of this one, yeah. But basically what I would like to do, I think I'm going to go positive with this one.
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to take you guys through a traumatic experience because, honestly, I don't think the viewers want to go through that either.
Yeah.
And I'll just give you the instructions for doing the other one after we get through this exercise. But
Okay.
basically what I want you guys to do is I want you to think of a very positive experience that you had. Something that happened in the past. It can be actually say the greatest experience of your life. Okay. I don't care if it's ill. I don't care what it is. You just need to be able to picture it in your mind.
Okay.
Oh God. Oh, you put me on the spot.
And I want you to be able to, just stand the way you were standing, breathe the way you were breathing.
Okay.
And when you got it, let me know. It should be basically projected as an image in your mind.
Wait, what are we doing exactly? We're just thinking of the image, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he said
There
No
will
extra
be
steps to that?
no. There would be stand the way you were standing and breathe the way you were breathing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it'll be almost like a still image in your mind.
Okay.
Now, what I want you to do is I want you to reach out, and I want you to trace the edges of that image in front of you.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a pretty detailed image. So
Well, you mean like
Like a picture
yeah?
frame out in front of you, just kind of trace it.
I got you.
Okay.
And then we notice the size and the shape of that image.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I want you to do is I want you to reach out like it's a touchscreen. I want you to lift it above your head.
Okay.
And then take it and expand it like it's a giant iPhone. Blow it up as big as an IMAX.
Okay.
I want you to notice what happens. And now I want you to take that positive experience. I want you to take that image. I want you to bring it down and wrap it around you like it's a large blanket.
All right.
And I want you to fuse this image with you. And I want you to breathe it into every part of your body, every part of your being. I want you just to re-experience that image. Let it just become a part of your mind and a part of your body. And when you know that it's a part of you and no one can take it away, I want you to let me know that you've got it.
Okay.
All right, now what I want you to do is I want you to try to turn it off.
When you say that, you just mean try to turn that feeling off or reverse the
Yeah, try to
process.
turn.
Okay.
Yeah, try to turn the feeling off. And when you know you've got it, I want you to open your eyes and look around the room and notice how different you feel.
It's hard for me to turn it off.
I would say, is it almost impossible?
Yeah, because I mean it's a pretty good feeling right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean I can, but right, yeah,
yeah.
right
Just
now
open
it's.
your eyes and look around the room and just notice, how different your perspective is, how different you feel
Mm-hmm.
right now in this moment.
I mean, look at this. Ty is just beaming from ear to ear.
How can
I can just tell the way you're acting. I'm like, man, this guy is happy.
yeah.
I think we got a winner here.
Yeah, I think we finally got him.
All right. Now, what are you guys noticing from this one?
What is what?
What have you guys noticed from this exercise so far?
I think I'm kind of curious to see. I feel like it affected Ty more. I'm kind of curious to see what he has to say. Since the last one clearly affected me to a certain extent more.
And I think,
Go ahead.
well, I'll go ahead and let you
Well,
talk about.
I was gonna say I don't really know. I'm kind of curious as to like I don't know how to like explain it, but honestly, like the most fun I ever have in my life is like when I'm like hanging out with you guys or like when I'm in Kansas, and so like that's what I thought of, and so yeah, and I'm not exactly. And I don't know. I don't know what else to say, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Listen, there's not really a right or wrong answer.
right.
But did you notice as you expanded the picture, the feeling got bigger?
Yeah, it did. Because
Uh,
after you told me to wrap it around like a blanket, I did it again because I was like, I don't know, this, like, I almost felt like the first time I didn't have like a lot of meaning to it, and so I tried to do it, like I actually meant it, and so it did get bigger.
Yeah. And you can do that as many times as you want, and you'll actually keep expanding it as long as you keep doing that, basically that motion.
Okay.
Because it's almost as if you're layering it on. And I think almost the reason that affected you more, Ty, is because I think you're actually more image based or more visual based. And that may be why, the first couple of exercises didn't really do as much to you. Now, both these exercises, this particular one runs on the same principle and is working with the same system. It just kind of changes how you visualize what experience or state you're trying to experience.
Right.
I don't know how this affected Matt, but
pretty similar. I don't think it affected me quite as much as Ty, but I can pretty much agree with the same basic premise. I think I didn't get lazy, I would say, but I think I probably could have been a little bit more vivid in my mind's eye with the expanding of it and all that. I think I kind of rushed through it a little too much, so I didn't get a chance to bask in it.
Yeah, that's okay. Really the idea here is to just kind of show that there are some results to these exercises, and kind of get the listeners here to kind of get rolling. That I'm kind of, because I've got here I've got Matt, who I figured would actually be very skeptical of some of this stuff, and I didn't. I was actually wondering if that would affect his ability to make this stuff work. Because I know it's this is work for me, of course, but I'm the one that's preaching it. I think it's great that I'm seeing very similar results with Ty. It's just a different feeling and a different
Yeah.
It's showing how your minds interpret things differently, but you're still able to get results from doing these types of exercises. Now the variation that I mentioned earlier, where people use this exercise for basically getting rid of negative experiences, basically you would not expand it, because you would basically feel the feeling stronger.
Okay. That's why you were like positive.
Yeah. What you would do with differently is you would actually take the image and you would make it smaller.
Okay.
Or another one that some people like to do is they like to take the image and they basically turn the contrast up until the image is completely black or white, whichever feels better.
Okay.
And then you would basically write on the image all the lessons that you learned from that experience. Or if it is something that was negative that you didn't really have a lesson to learn from, it was just a terrible thing that happened to you that continues to affect you, just collapse it and throw it away. Throw it as far as you can.
Okay.
And that physical and subconscious effect basically causes basically psychologically, that is you getting rid of that image or that experience, putting it behind you.
I got you. Okay.
And of course you can bring it back whenever you want, but who wants to bring back a negative experience? Who wants to bring back the feelings of a negative experience like that?
Right. Okay.
Now, of course, you don't magically forget things, but it allows you to have a more manageable feeling about what happened.
Okay.
You'll notice, a lot of, everybody has those experiences that were negative they just got over finally, at some point in their life, and that kind of, I guess, would help you cope with it quicker.
Right.
Just emotionally. And I've heard some stories of people having some very intense negative experiences that they've used this exercise on.
Okay.
And gotten some very good just results. People that have had issues with past experiences with relationships where it's affecting them. They can't trust anybody.
Right.
They go back to that specific image, and they go through that exercise, and it helps out a lot. Or say they want to feel, they want more of something, or they want, which this one in particular is used very commonly in law of attraction, where you're actually picturing the thing that you want, and you expand it. And it's supposedly a very effective exercise. It's not one that I particularly use.
Okay.
But the results that I've heard have been that this is actually very effective in getting you into the right state to attract certain things that you want in your life.
Okay, I got you.
Whether that be mainly relationships is what I hear people using it for. I'd say the more subconscious, what makes that legitimate is, subconsciously it predisposes you to being able to achieve that goal easier. As with most things in law of attraction.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're going into it, what it will do is it will put you into a state where you're more confident, basically, and your people are naturally going to find that more attractive. Which is basically, that's kind of the point I'm trying to get across with all of these, all three of these that I've run you through. I don't think we really have time to do any more. But these are all run on the same basic principle.
Okay.
Whereas with spinning, probably the most versatile, because if you can point to it, you can run through the exercise and you can change it.
Yeah. Okay.
With the second one, if you can identify the feeling and you can, the feeling in the body language, and you do that exercise for about 5 minutes tops, usually, you can go into any state you want, have any form of influence you feel you need to have.
Right.
Or
Interesting.
if you want to be more flirty, or you want to be more fun at a party, or you just want to get more relaxed and be able to suit the environment more, that's a very good exercise to do. And if you're dealing with something that's just overall an emotional issue, and you want to go a lot deeper, the third exercise I taught, generally, it can take as long as you want. You can play with the image as much as you want.
Okay.
And just watch how your subconscious interprets the images that you're doing that with. You can even take it, one experiment that is commonly done that I didn't put you guys through is people will take an image and throw it like a frisbee.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
And typically you'll see that what you typically see is that the feeling will go away, or it'll lessen a lot. Of course, so then you reach up and you imagine that you're attracting the frisbee back to you, and the feeling comes back. And it all basically runs on this principle of where you are physically placing this in your own mind affects the feelings that you're having emotionally or physically.
Yeah. Okay.
But if if you play with these types of principles, you can generally put yourself in and out of any state you want. It just requires practice, and you become a lot more plastic to the results the more you do. And I'd say as strong as some of the reactions I got tonight, I think you two would actually be pretty good. Actually, be able to do this pretty effectively.
Okay.
So
all three of these exercises.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't even necessarily need to do them all three, at the same time or in succession, or they're really interchangeable. And I kind of went through these just to kind of give the options to the people listening, or to someone, tools that I think either one of you would actually enjoy having. I would recommend just playing with different states, just around your friends or in different environments.
Yeah.
And kind of watch how people react differently to you. Because you will start to notice different reactions from people as you do these states differently.
Okay.
Some positive and some negative.
Right.
I mean, if you do if you go into the rockstar state, which is the one I use most commonly, which is basically just me imagining that. And it's going to sound very conceited, but you're imagining everybody there is there to see you. You know, you're basically, you know, you're a celebrity that's there, and you're rocking everybody's world. That's it.
Okay.
And you can expand that to whatever form of, I guess, you know, it's very much a confidence thing, but it's also, it's, you know, you mentally become somebody. You know, you can picture Elvis Presley or any celebrity you want, you know, that projects that image, you know, of that, you know, that celebrity state, and you can copy that and you'll go into it, and it'll boost your confidence, and which is that's the one I use the most, and that's the one I've noticed I got the most reaction for. The problem is, though, there will always be people jealous of you that will kind of get irritated. So, you know, but say, you're any time for self-improvement, you're gonna have to take the bad with the good.
The bad with the good, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the warning. It will change people's perception of you as you start using these. But
and with the rockstar state, do you do the second exercise? Is that what you were talking about? Where you envision?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I
do.
this.
That's typically what you're going to use the second one for that.
Okay.
Now, the spinning technique you're going to use for just feelings that normally negative feelings that you have that you want to get rid of.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Okay.
You know, with a quick fix.
Okay.
If you can use the second technique for that too. But what you would do is you would take the state that you want, and any tension you have trying to go into that state, you would focus specifically on breathing that energy or that color through that particular area.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, as far as attaining and having a solid specific state,
right,
the second exercise is going to be your best bet if you want to start your day or you want to go to a bathroom stall or something. You know, the reason I say that is because that's typically what I do. Is I need a quick fix. I'm going to take off. I'm going to do one of these exercises. The third one that takes longer.
Yeah.
But that is really great for enhancing a level of thankfulness and gratitude.
Yeah. Especially when you're using it for positive things. Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you're just in a really depressed state, you can really shift things. Or, you know, any image in your mind or any experience that you want to relive the feeling of, you can use that. You can use that exercise for.
Okay.
And I mean, like I said before, anything you want to get rid of, right? You don't want to have to keep experiencing.
Right.
You know, you do the opposite, basically the opposite of what you were doing before, and you just shrink it down and get rid of it. But yeah, I hope these are useful tools for anyone listening. And if you have any more questions, you guys have any more questions for me, or?
I don't think so. It was all pretty awesome to work with.
Yeah, say very, very esoteric, very say just about anybody that watches you do any of this stuff is going to think you're crazy until you tell them what you're doing or show them.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I have a camera, you know, so
yeah.
You recorded it. Yeah. We'll have to put that on YouTube or something as a bonus.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've been caught doing it in my car before, doing spinning, and people just staring at me like, "What the hell's going on?" You know. But
yeah.
But no, I mean these are three tricks that I use quite often.
Yeah.
I probably use the second one a little bit more. Okay. But just try using that one to let's just say, do the rock store, do something flirty or whatever. Just go out in public and watch people react to you. Because that was the one thing that made me the biggest believer in state control was when I started doing that particular exercise and just went to Walmart and just saw people, If you're not good at reading people, you may not notice it at first, but
Okay.
you will start to notice people treating it differently.
Okay.
Um,
Good and bad,
they won't.
or depending on the state?
It's mostly good.
Okay.
But there's always people that are jealous of people that are happier than them, basically,
Yeah, yeah.
or people that take if they're not getting enough attention,
Right.
or. But this is really a large part of you improving yourself when you do these exercises,
Okay.
because you're allowing yourself to basically feel more positive about your life.
Right.
And as you're projecting this positivity out to people, more positivity is going to come back to you in general.
Okay. Okay.
And that's really kind of what these principles are all about.
That's awesome.
But
Okay.
anyway, yeah, I think I'm ready to close out.
Fantastic.
Man,
Yeah. I mean, all of it was pretty awesome, and I really
yeah.
appreciate you teaching us the exercises. So,
Yeah.
well, I was kind of curious about the whole state control thing because like I said before, me and Matt.
Right.
Go ahead.
Nothing. I was just saying, yeah, I didn't expect it to. I think doing the exercises makes me understand the whole thing a little bit better. So
Yeah, it does. Well, you don't have anything left to say, Matt? If you're good, I'll go ahead and
are we
close
doing
out.
kind of the closing? Or?
Yeah, yeah. So, all right, Matt. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't know that I have much else to add.
All right. Well, this was State Control by Evan Reida. Hey, Evan, did you want to plug yourself, or you want to wait till later?
You know what? I think I will go ahead and say, as of tonight, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure when this will be released, but
Okay.
my personal coaching page will be up on Facebook, and my website will be up here in the near future. Just search for Reida Mindfulness, because I'm going to recommend searching Facebook for it. If you have any personal questions or you want to try to schedule some sort of consultation or appointment with me now, hit me up at Reidacoaching@yahoo.com. That's REIDA coaching@yahoo.com. And I'll be happy to answer your questions or schedule a coaching appointment, or if I can't help you, I'll direct you to someone who can.
Awesome. And all of that will be in the description, the email and stuff like that. And you told them about the email for the Q&A as well. Is that correct? Or
Well, if they hit me at my coaching email, I will be using that for Q&A as well.
Okay.
For now.
Okay.
Unless they want to email the podcast.
Okay.
Which is, you have that one. So
Yes. Yeah. I have not set up an email yet, but I can't remember if I did, but I haven't publicly announced it, is what I'm saying. So.
All right.
But all right, guys. Well, thank you guys for watching, and like I said, this was State Control by Evan Reida and Matt Pulaski. And so we will see you guys, and I'm the James, and I'll see you guys in the next video.